Awesome. Great. We're live now. So hi, everyone, and welcome to Self-Made Toolkit. This is our established but also new group for contractors, landscapers, and construction professionals from all over the world, from invoice to go. And I'm Sylvie. If you've not met me before, I host many of the live events that we do in here, which are meant to be educational and inspirational for you as construction professionals so that you can make the most of your business and grow. And today I'm joined with Mike Claudio from WinRate Consulting. And Mike, why don't you introduce yourself? I've got some questions on you. So who are you? What's WinRate Consulting? Tell me about your background and how you started your business. And how are you going to tell everyone today how they're going to win more projects?
Yeah, so that's a loaded question, but so Mike Claudio, owner of WinRate Consulting. I'm a business coach primarily on sales, business development, and leadership for the home service construction industry. I'll do a very long story short. I started my life in corporate America, joined a remodeling company about 8 years ago, helped them grow, joined a roofing company, helped them grow, and realized I had a knack for growing businesses. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the coaching aspect and the leadership aspect. So I started a coaching company. In the last 2 years, I have coached upwards, it's a little over 50 companies over the last 2 years as a one-on-one business coach. I also own a grading and demo company, so tearing down houses, grading lots. So, I kind of miss being in the industry. So earlier this year, I started that company, and it's going well right now as well. So that's the 60-second answer.
Awesome. Which do you enjoy more, the consulting or the?
Oh, I'm incredibly passionate about coaching. I love what I do. I have 13 coaching clients right now that I talk to every week, right? So I get to be in their business, like basically with them, next to them, guiding them, the wins, the losses. I get really engaged with my clients because I typically do 6-month contracts or 6-month agreements. I have some clients I'm working with for 18 to 24 months and some, 2 or 3 months so far. But I get super engaged and I'm just super passionate about helping those people. I mean, tearing down houses is cool and operating heavy equipment's cool. I kind of run the business sales side. My partner runs the operations side. So I don't do it on a daily basis, but I saw that was more of saw a need, filled a niche. But I'm super passionate about the coaching.
So that's great because you're actually experiencing it firsthand yourself and you're practicing what you preach in a way.
Oh, and it's working. It's working real good. Yeah.
You have, everything that's working not only on like yourself, but also with all your clients. I think that's awesome. It's actually leads on to my second question, which is you've got a lot of experience with different contractors, seeing many different businesses, how they operate. What are the main mistakes that you see contractors making, which is like costing them finding new jobs and new business?
I mean, there's a handful that I see pretty consistently, but what I would see is the biggest issue from an ownership perspective is accountability of implementation. A lot of contractors have great ideas, like we're going to do that. I'm going to get on social media. I'm going to get my website where it needs to be. I'm going to start posting regularly. And then they let all the distractions of life get in the way. And look, is posting on social media directly mission critical to helping the clients and solving the fires you have today? No. But you need to do it to grow your business. You need to do it to grow your awareness. You need to do it to grow your credibility. So it is mission critical to the long-term vision. But I think a lot of business owners think very short term, what are the fires I need to solve this week? How do I get my guys work next week? And they don't put the bigger picture things in place because they just talk themselves out of it. And so I think, consistency and accountability of implementation of ideas. Because look, I coach a lot of different businesses, anywhere from a few $100,000 in revenue to my biggest I've coached is probably about 10 million in revenue. But they all deal with the same thing. Great ideas that never come to fruition, a bunch of awesome initiatives that never got completed, or, a lot of awesome just concepts that stay on the whiteboard. They don't ever actually get implemented. Accountability is a big part of this. And, the majority of the people I help, I'd say about 80% of what I coach them on was a thought or idea or a concept they had heard or learned, but didn't know how to, relate it to their ecosystem.
Got it.
I'm like, how would that work for me in my business? My business is different. Hey, sorry, contractors, business is business. Yeah. There's no such thing as different types of business. You might have a different product or service, but here's the bottom line. As businesses, we are problem solvers. Some people do it with sod. Some people do it with mulch. Some people do it with framing. Some people do it with roofing. but you're just going to solve a problem. That's the same for all consumers everywhere. There needs to be a problem. So like, there's nothing different about the process. There's not much different about the talk track. There's not much different about the client experience perception, but people just, they think of great ideas. They want to implement great ideas. And then like that, either it's a scarcity mindset or lack of confidence or just general lack of accountability and structure stops them from implementing. And I think that's like a big high level, but I'd say everybody who's watching this video has something in their business where they're like, I've been talking about doing that for months, if not years, and I haven't done it, and I know I need to. Stop right now, create a plan, prepare to implement, make it happen. Like, just implement, analyze, adjust. Stop analyzing and adjusting. You got to implement first.
I think that's great advice. Just remembered that I've not done the housekeeping portion of this. So if anyone has any questions for Mike, then please leave them in the comments. We'll get to them at the end, but don't feel free to just leave a comment at any time during the interview. Oh, I've just been joined by my dog. But yes.
Look, I mean, honestly, questions are great. They help me relate the topic or the feedback directly to a specific person's scenario. So don't be afraid to ask questions as we go. I'll get as many answered as I can.
Yeah, definitely. And if you don't feel comfortable commenting a question, then you can, of course, message Mike as well afterwards. But I'll provide all his contact details in case you want to get in touch with him.
Cool.
But yeah, Mike's got some really great content, and I was looking into some of the tips that you were sharing. And one of the things that you said was about making sure that you have the follow-up. And that is like one of the most important things to do. So on that, what do you mean by that, and what are your tips for following up?
So like, one of the biggest things I hear about follow-up is like, well, I don't know when the right time is, and I don't want to bug them, and they'll call me back when they're ready to move forward. No to all of those things. So here's like the biggest tip that I think is missed is, one, clients need to be followed up with on their timeline. So in the world of sales, my opinion and approach to this is, me as the expert control the process, them as the client control the timeline. In today's environment, clients are expected to be able to do their due diligence, do their research, do whatever they need to do, and can make a decision whenever they want, but then they want it very quickly. You're not going to push somebody through their decision-making process faster than they're ready for, or you're going to deal with some buyer's remorse or some frustrated clients because they end up making a decision on something they didn't really want to. So how do you implement that is, it's a best practice, I think, for all communication, but specifically sales, is never end a conversation without a defined next step and deadline, right? So an example of that be like, hey, cool, I got what I needed for today. I'm going to send you a proposal on Tuesday. Let me know if you have any questions, is typically what people say.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Great. I'm going to send it to you on Tuesday. Let me know if you have any questions. There's no defined next step of the next conversation, right? So what I would say is, in that case, hey, I'm going to send you a proposal on Tuesday. How long would you like with it to like kind of digest it? Oh, you want a couple days? Cool. Is it cool if I give you a call on Friday to check in if I don't hear from you? Awesome. Cool. Would 11 o'clock work? Awesome. Let's put it on the calendar. So now you're not disrupting them because they should be expecting it. You know that they wanted it because they told you, they bought into that as the next step, as the next conversation. But then also it's an opportunity for you as a contractor to differentiate yourself, because one of the biggest complaints is we don't follow through on what we say we're going to do. There's a big complaint in the industry. Homeowners just don't expect you to, they don't expect you to show up on time, do a proposal on time, project on time. Like, this, a real negative mindset around contractors in the homeowner world. So now you're saying, hey, I'm going to send this to you on Tuesday and I'll call you on Friday. And if you send it on Tuesday and actually call on Friday, you just overcame one of their biggest fears about you, that you can say you're going to do something and you'll actually follow through on it. And it's on the simple thing, right? You're like, oh, Mike, it was just a phone call, no big deal. But like, if they can't trust you to do a phone call when you say you're going to do, why would they expect that you'd be able to complete that project when you said you would?
Oh my God.
And so that little tip of setting that next step, getting the buy-in, scheduling it, making sure it happens is one of the best practices. And like, I honestly believe you shouldn't leave any conversation without a defined next step and deadline. Like, I do it with my kids, I do it with my wife, I do it with everybody. So there's no misconception on what the next step in whatever it is. It could be like, hey, you're not interested? Cool. Can I follow up with you in 6 months? See how everything's going?
Yeah.
Like, now you at least know, and they know what the next step is. And I think it's just, so too many people leave it to chance. Like, I hear a lot like, well, if they wanted to hire me, they'd call me back. That is not how consumers work at all.
That is so true. And it's really great, as you said, for like the trust and reputation for your business, because then if you're being the one that's, reliable, calling when you said you're going to, and no one else does, then it's like you said, it's like little signals like that will guide them to
Huge.
probably
Yeah,
choose
it's huge.
over anyone
Yep.
else. We do have a question from Aaron. He wants to know if phone calls are what you would suggest, or can you do emails as well?
I typically like to ask how people like to be communicated with. Like as part of the sales process, when I'm collecting their information, I typically like to throw in like, okay, hey, and what's the best way, or how do you prefer to be communicated with?
Okay.
I would say like as often as possible, schedule a phone call, because it doesn't go into the junk folder. It doesn't go, I mean, I've seen people with like 30,000 unread emails, right?
Yeah.
Like you might get lost in the clutter. Like I rather just have a human to human conversation, because it speeds the conversation up.
Yeah.
Right? If you're having a phone call, you can have like, it might take 10 emails to do what you can do in 3 minutes in a phone call.
Yeah.
So I would say like I lean on the phone call unless the person tells me like, hey, text me is better, email me is better. I would lean on, I mean, really, there's even a level up from there. Like I would schedule a Zoom call as the number one option, because now
Yeah.
you get to see each other and build a different level of personal relationship with them, another level of credibility. So like my top way would be like, let's do a Zoom call, 5 minutes real quick. We get to see each other, we get to communicate. You get to build another level of trust and relationship with me. I get to see you. I get to read you, right? When you're, especially when someone's like reviewing a proposal, especially on like, the sales follow-up, like reading them is a really big part of what you need to do and say next.
Yeah.
Well, if you can't see them, you can't read them. So I think one would be Zoom, two would be phone call, three would probably be text message, four would be email. Because I think emails become just such a, like just so much. I think that, not that you should never do it, just I would lead with
Yeah.
some of the other ones, especially if it's a client. If it's like a prospect or a referral partner or somebody that you're just like trying to get in front of, try all things. I'll shoot a DM all the time. Like
Yeah.
people love engaging on social media. But I'm not sure the exact scenario Aaron was asking about, but I would say that's the order of and value I would go from a communication perspective.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting as well, because all of those things are like COVID safe.
Yeah.
You can do those now with social distancing, or you can do that, hopefully when we're back to normal soon. And
Well, if you would have told somebody let's say a year ago, hey, let's just jump on a video call, they'd be like, get out of here. Like,
yeah,
no, just come to my house. Just come look at it. Now they're like, hey, do you do video calls? Like, just adapt.
yeah,
I actually have, if you're worried about how to do a video Zoom call, there's a video on my YouTube channel. It's just Mike Claudio. It's called How to Run a Virtual Consultation.
okay,
It's a step-by-step process of how I'd go about using Zoom or whatever platform. I highlight Zoom because it's what I use, but using Zoom, what the talk track should be like, what the agenda should be, how you should guide the meeting, how you should engage with them, what you should have them do ahead of time. So how to run a virtual consultation on Mike Claudio YouTube channel, which I'm sure you'll put the links in.
yeah, definitely.
As
I'm
well.
going to share that link in the comments of this live, so you can check that out and see Mike's YouTube channel. Great.
Cool.
So my next question was kind of running on from the one before of like, why do you think it is that a lot of contractors don't follow up? Is it like a kind of pride thing, or like I don't want to get
I think it's fear. I think they talk themselves out of it. I think it's they look for every reason not to. Like call reluctance in sales is a huge problem. Like whether you're cold calling, prospecting, following up, like humans just want to avoid pain. That's like the human nature.
Yeah.
People don't want to be told no and let down. So like they rather not call, because then they're not actually being let down. But what you fail to realize is like, if for you to call, that separates you from everybody else, because you actually do the work, which makes you look better than everybody else who's not doing the work. I say that's part of it. I think part of it is like fear and anxiety about getting laid down and getting told no. And just in general, like that's not a comfortable experience. But I think potentially, that's one that's like no one really admits to. If you're watching, that ain't me, that's you. I promise you. But I think another one is just like people don't prioritize the scheduling of the activity, right? You get busy in your week, you get busy in your time frame. One, you might not have a CRM or any type of tracking system for your leads. Two, you don't have the time schedule for follow-up. Like if you follow me on social media, every Friday for the last 2 years has been follow-up Friday. I follow up with people on Fridays. That's my day. because I didn't want to be in the field in the afternoon on Friday. So I said, I'll make Friday afternoon my follow-up time.
Great.
That's how I structure my time. So I think most people just don't have time dedicated to that specific activity.
Yeah.
And there's probably always more. There's always the next lead. But like, here's a little statistic I'll give you. I don't have any scientific proof of this, but I ran an analysis on my own sales over a 5-year period in construction selling. So I did a little over $10 million in sales in about a 5-year period. 40% of those sales were directly related to follow-up activity.
Wow.
That's $4 million in revenue that was directly related to follow-up.
Yeah.
There's 100 different reasons why they haven't gotten back to you. They've gotten busy. They forgot about it. Like, you have to understand, as the contractor, it's your top priority, whatever they're doing. You are likely not their top priority. They have a job, they have kids, they have feelings, they have things going wrong, things going right, vacations. They forget.
Yeah.
They get sidetracked. It's your job to stay in front of them.
Yeah.
You did everything right. You maybe you paid for the lead, you paid for the marketing, you did the work, you went out there, you spent hours meeting with them, you spent hours creating a proposal. You've earned the right to an answer, in my opinion. If you've done everything right, you delivered a good client experience, you did what you said you were going to do, you've earned a right for an answer. Yes, no, or indifferent. You're not going to ghost me. I will follow up with you forever because I have nothing to lose. I'm not going to, it doesn't cost me money to follow up. I'm not losing anything by making that phone call or sending that email or shooting that DM or sending a text message. It doesn't cost me anything. So my opportunity cost does not increase by following up, but I have a chance to close it if I do. I definitely don't have a chance if I don't. Might as well follow up. If I have somebody who ran through the whole process with professional experience, followed through, followed up, did everything right, you're going to keep hearing from me until I get an answer.
So is there ever a point where you say you've followed it with someone over a period of 2 or 3 months and they're just not calling you back and you're not hearing back from them at all? Is there a point where you would not follow up every Friday with that person, or do you
Yeah, so here's my strategy for someone that just completely ghosts me.
Yeah.
I do every week for a month, every other week for 2 months, and then every month for 3 months is my typical. So at that point, that's somewhere around 10, 12 touches. It takes 7 to 12 touches to close a deal. That's kind of how I got to that.
Yeah. What I'm really loving about your process is that you systemize things in that way.
Everything.
So that is such a system. Yeah. Do you think that's the key to your success, is having those business systems in place? And
I would say I think the systems help me create consistency. And I think consistency is the root of my success. Because anybody who knows me and follows me knows I am obnoxiously consistent and disciplined. I have a routine I follow every week that's almost identical. I get up the same time every day, 7 days a week. I have the same morning routine 7 days a week. So I think the systems and processes and planning and preparedness has allowed me to be very consistent. And the monotony is where you win. Doing the same thing effectively over a long period of time is the only way to win.
Yeah.
And my tagline, my life motto, it's even tattooed on my arm, is win fast, win often. I need to win fast and win often. Mm-hmm. Well, if I put the wins in someone else's hands, I want to close 5 deals this week, you have no control over that. Mm-hmm. You can't decide who is and is not going to sign the contract, who is and does not have the money. But you can control how many calls you make. You can control how many follow-ups you do. You can control how many social media posts you make. You can control if you got up and educated yourself and read a book today and flexed your brain muscles, right? So my consistency is really based around my routine of activity and behaviors that lead to success, not really the number itself.
Yeah.
Because if you look at this year, if you would have allowed success, the revenue number, to be your defining moment of this year, many people would have crumbled. Many might have crumbled this year because you went through a dip. Most people went through some sort of a dip, for even if it was for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And if you would have your emotions and your joy and your happiness in the results, you can't control that. So you're at the mercy of the market. My business got crushed, which is part of the reason I started the grading company.
Yeah.
Because I was not, and I'm not, I'm not an essential asset to people. I'm a service.
Yeah.
So many people just drop me, or I told many people to drop me. Many of them have come back since then, but like I went through 2 or 3 months with like almost no clients.
Yeah.
But the process didn't change. Like no one knew that. My
Yeah.
posting didn't change, my content didn't change, my persona didn't change because I love the process. The results are cool. I fall in love with the process because I can control that. So I guess to answer your question, I think the systems and processes give me the ability to stay consistent. I think the consistency is really at the root of the majority of the success I've had.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm glad to hear that you're getting through the harder times now. And that was such a great pivot as well for you, like starting the grading company alongside.
Well, and the coaching business is thriving. I mean, my fourth quarter will be the best quarter I've had in business.
Amazing.
I'll do, you know, it's not a ton, but like I'll probably do 6 figures or more in coaching in just fourth quarter. So like
That's awesome.
that's a good quarter for me compared to where I was 2 or 3 quarters ago.
Yeah, wow. That's such amazing growth. That says a lot for the systems that you've got and the
But it
consistency.
just didn't stop because like I
Yeah.
follow the routine. Like
Yeah.
the plan is the goal. The plan is the win. The activity is the win, not so much the results.
So do you think if I said to you now, what would your advice be to someone who's kind of like had this lull and had a dip and they're feeling really low and not sure how their business is going to get through this tough time? What is your advice?
Get back to the basics. Like many people forgot what made them successful to begin with. Like when most people started their business, what'd you do? You called your friends and family and told them you were getting into business for yourself, right? You made some posts about what you're getting into business to do. And then all of a sudden, like you get successful, you stop doing that activity, your success starts to dip and you forget what got you there. If you're struggling right now, pick up the phone and call 20 people who might know somebody who needs your services.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Like it's not difficult to pull this off. In the grading company, I prospect twice a week. I sent 4 DMs yesterday and closed $10,000 in business because I put the word out there. I put the content out there. Like the system is very simple. If you're not successful, it means one of two things. One, there's not enough people who are aware of you, or two, you're not very good at what you do. That's it. That's the only reason you can't be successful. Either you're good and no one knows about you, or people know you and you're not very good.
Yeah.
Those are the only two ways you are unsuccessful. So if you're not very good at what you do, maybe you need to pivot the services that you offer. Probably unlikely. Likely just not enough people know who you are. So it's your job to pick up your phone, make the calls, shoot the DMs, shoot the emails, get in front of more referral partners, people who are around your ideal client. Like if you make 10 phone calls a day for the rest of the year, you'll have your best year ever next year because you have not been doing that activity. I guarantee it. I don't care who you are. You have not done it consistently.
Good advice. Back yourself. Make the phone calls.
You got to do it.
So speaking of referrals and winning new business, what we've seen everyone say is that word of mouth and referrals are the biggest source of business for many contractors.
Yep.
But seeing as we're talking about business systems, how do you set yourself up so that you can systemize getting those referrals and having them as a reliable new business source? I feel like with referrals, it's one of those things where if you're just kind of waiting for it to happen, then it's not consistent for you during tough times.
I actually prospect. Probably 60 to 70% of my prospecting or relationship building is directly with referral partners.
Right.
So what identifies a referral partner? I think there's two things that identify a referral partner. The first one, which is the most important, that person has to be in a trusted advisory role of your ideal client base. Because if their ideal client base doesn't trust them, their referral for you doesn't carry much weight.
Okay.
Right? Like think real estate agent of a homeowner, think financial advisor of somebody looking to do a big project, think, bigger contractor for smaller contractor for bigger contractor.
Yeah.
You get the point. Like this person has to be in a trusted advisory role. Like in some way, shape, or form, that person's market, audience, client base needs to trust them for it to matter. The second thing is that person needs to ideally directly benefit from you helping that person. Like think real estate agent. Like a real estate agent can't get to the closing table if you don't do your job for their client, right? So like that way you kind of take the need of like referral fees and thank you cards. Like that person makes a ton more money if you just do your job than any gift card you're going to send them.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. That makes it really easy to refer people. Like right now, like I'm looking for landscape companies that work with general contractors. Let's talk about the grading company, right? Landscape companies that don't do demo work. They might do grading, but they don't do demo work, right?
Right.
That person, if they're a good sub of a good contractor, that contractor trusts that person. When that contractor calls that sub and says, hey, do you do demo work too? And they go, no, we don't, but you should talk to Mike. Mike does demo work. And now every contractor that landscape company works with that does grading, he can have the grading. Give me the demo. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build more relationships, right? So like that person's in a trusted advisory role of the contractor, and the contractor says, oh yeah, if you say Mike, Mike's cool. Let's call Mike.
Yeah.
And so like that helps me get more awareness quicker. So I don't leave referrals to chance. Like I chase referral partners aggressively.
And then so do you then incentivize them to do that, or do you just leave it up to the fact that, they then win work because they're working with you?
I look for people who win when I do my job.
Great. So even because that was one of the things I was going to ask about, paying people referral fees, and
I've never done it. I've never done it. I've done thank you stuff like occasionally, like not like I'm not like, hey man, like I'll send you work if you send me 10%. No, like if you need to get paid to send me work, you're not somebody I want to do business with.
Yeah.
There's just enough people. Like there's hundreds, if not thousands, of potential referral partners in everybody's market everywhere.
Yeah.
Keep moving, keep trying. You only need every business, if you're doing less than $10 million in business a year, which I say the majority of your audience is probably in that bracket, ballpark.
Yeah.
You are 5 to 10 referral partners away from doubling your business. You don't need 1,000 referral partners. You need to find 5 to 10 that want to operate the way you would like to operate, and then treat them as good as you can. Thank them. Appreciation still goes a long way. Like, don't forget to still call and thank them when they send referrals. If there's that appreciation, maybe a year-end gift would be a cool thing, but not like some sort of expected referral fee for business closed. I've never done it that way.
Yeah. If you have any questions specifically on this, I feel like this is quite a specific to someone's industry, then Mike's contact details will be left in the comments, and you can reach out to him and have a consultation and see if you want to work with him, because I think this is one of the areas where you really add value as a coach, is guiding people to know who a good referral partner is. That I would never have thought of that. And it's having
and
someone.
Most people don't, like, and that's why I think it works really well, because you're going at it in a unique fashion that most people aren't. So like, imagine you walk into a networking room, right? And everybody wants to talk to the real estate agent because the real estate agent has homeowners, right?
Yeah.
I would go talk to the financial advisor, because the financial advisor is the one that the rich people are asking what they should do with their money with their house.
True.
When I was selling remodel work, I targeted financial advisors because my ideal client was 45 to 65 years old, spending at least $100,000 on their home. Yeah. That person's not on social media. At least 6-7 years ago, they weren't.
Yeah.
Where do they go? Who's their trusted advisor when it comes to spending 100 grand? Their financial advisor.
Yeah.
That worked really well.
Oh my gosh, that's so smart. We're almost out of time, sadly. I feel like this has been such a valuable session. There's so many amazing nuggets of advice and stuff that have come out of this. So thank you so much, Mike. If you do have any questions, then drop them in the comments now. But before we get to those, my last question to you is, if you had only $1,000 to invest in your business as a contractor, what would you do with it to elevate your growth?
I would buy 20 people lunch.
Nice.
Exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
I would go find 20 people who I thought could be a good referral partner or bring me business I want. I'd buy them lunch. I'd spend $50 times 20 people would be $1,000.
Nice. Because of all the reasons we just said above, financial advisors and
whatever. I mean, like if you're a landscaper, tree companies, if you're a tree company, landscapers, like go find people who are around your ideal client, go build a relationship with them.
Yeah.
That $1,000 will go way further meeting with 20 people of a target audience. Don't just go like buy anybody lunch, like be intentional with it. But that's way better than any ad spend. That I don't do ad spend. I've never done it. I don't pay for leads. I don't really do much marketing, like paid marketing. I do relationship building. That's my silver bullet. That's my sweet spot. That's my secret sauce. I sold $10 million and didn't spend $1 on marketing.
Amazing. That's really great advice. Thank you so much, Mike. It's been awesome speaking with you. I don't think we've got any questions as the final ones. There's a lot of people in the comments saying how much they've enjoyed it and saying that this is really valuable. So thank you so much. What I'm going to do is drop the video from Mike's YouTube channel about doing virtual consultations. And
there's another one on referral partners in there too that would be really valuable.
Oh, great. That's so good to share. Thank you so much. And then, yeah, if you do want to work with Mike, how do they find you?
I'm at WinRate Consulting on Instagram is probably the best place. Mike at winrateconsulting.com is my email. If you want to just hear more about what I believe in and how I do things, Big Stud Sales is my podcast, and Mike Claudio is my YouTube channel. Those are the two, but that's where I put the majority of my effort. I release one podcast a week and 2 YouTube videos a week. So there's always a ton of stuff going out there.
Great content and so much to learn from you. Thanks so much for your time. It was great to have you in Self-Made Toolkit.
Yeah, thank you.